Welcome class to your last video for Alien Invasion, and this is chapter 14 in your book, and it is scoring. I'm going to separate this video out into three sections. We're going to be looking at the play button. So we'll be adding a play button to start the game on demand and to restart the game once it ends. And then we're also going to change the levels of the game. So once we clear out a screen of aliens, we want those aliens to speed up, so making the game a little harder. And then the last portion will look at how we're going to keep a high score, as well as the current score, the levels, and also how many ships we still have available in our game. So let's begin first by looking at the play button. So the play button section is going to work with the three files: game stats. We're going to create a new file called button.py, and then we're going to make some updates also to Alien Invasion. So just a comment on game stats. If your game active here is set to true, okay, that's when maybe the play button will not show up, so make sure your game active is set here to false. And then in button.py, again, make sure that you're coding the two underscores around the init function. Again, paying attention to our indentation, making sure our functions line up one tab inside of our class. If you get a black screen, I want you to make sure that your run game section looks exactly like this, so that this update screen is outdented and it's lining up with the if statement. So let's go ahead and run this so you can see the functionality. Okay, so initially my play button, and then depending on how many times you have this set for in ship hit, will be depending on how many times the screen fills with aliens. But this is the functionality that you should have after you have completed this section of adding the play button. Next, we'll look at leveling up. So leveling up is going to work with two files, and that is the settings file and the Alien Invasion file. So we're going to modify the speed settings with regards to the settings file. So you're going to be adding in a speed up scale of 1.1, and then creating this function initialize dynamic settings, and also the increase speed function to this class. Again, just a reminder, vertical alignment for your functions. And then there'll be some updates, small updates to Alien Invasion. So let's go ahead and run this so that you can see the functionality. Again, you should have all the previous functionality. So here's the play button. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and try to kill all these aliens before they get me. Okay, and then you should start to see them speeding up, and that is the leveling up. Okay, so if you want to work with these settings, you certainly can. So if you get them to be pretty erratic, one of the settings that you can go ahead and change is I'll find it right here, the alien speed. So this might be something that you drop to 0.5 or maybe 0.2 or 0.3, just depending on what you have everything else set to. Again, you're welcome to modify any of these settings for testing purposes. So next we're going to look at a larger section, and that is of scoring. So this is probably the biggest amount of pages that one will have coded for this entire project. So in the scoring section, you're going to have incremental changes to your game. So the first thing that we're going to work for is just getting the score up here in the right hand corner. Okay, and then we're going to be working with updating the score as aliens are shot down. We're going to go ahead and reset the score. And so every time you see kind of a figure, you should be looking for that to be present in your game. And again, if it tells you to test along the way, please make sure you go ahead and do that. Then we go ahead and we add in a high score. So at the top of the screen, we'll be having a high score. So that will be added on. And then we're going to be looking at the level. So below the current score, there will be a level number, such as 1 or 2, and so on. And so that's the next increment to it. And then we're going to be adding in the ships at the top of the file. So here we'll have the next display of the high score. There is adding the level. Okay, and then ultimately we're going to add those ships at the end. So I'm going to show you the functionality, and then we'll talk a little bit about maybe some issues that could go wrong, some common debugging. So we'll go ahead and run Alien Invasion so you can see the functionality here. So we've got, this will be our current score, the high score, the level, and then the ships that are available. So let me go ahead and play the game. Okay, so we see the level is updated, and then it's usually kind of where I stop in my testing. So I want to see that I'm losing my ships. Okay, and I currently have the one ship up there, and the reason is that in my code I only allow for the 3 kills. So the next thing that I would go ahead and test is to make sure that I can replace the high score. Okay, and once I get to that, I mean, if I want to see that if it hits to level 3, I certainly can do that. If I can get this alien. And that's usually where I stop. Okay, so that's the functionality that you should be looking for as well. So 4 files are involved. We start out with game stats. We look at setting score to 0 and level to 1 to start us off. And then we have a new file called scoreboard. And scoreboard is started on in the very beginning of our section. And so that'll be a new file to our area here. And then we have settings, and then of course we have Alien Invasion. So these are some of the things that I have written in my book that I always kind of share with. So you want to make sure that when you are coding your calls to your functions, sometimes we get kind of, maybe in a hurry, and we forget to put in parentheses. I got to get into the right file here. So for example, I see this quite often where we'll type get_rect and we forget to do the parentheses. And so this comes in with a built-in type of function error. So it might not make quite sense to you just because you didn't code get_rect. So anytime you see built-in, it's usually something that we forgot with parentheses. Let's see here, I'm just looking through my book here. In scoreboard here as well, if you forget to add these 2 function calls, you're going to get a level_image error, because prep level actually initializes level_image. Let's see. And that's really all I have for as far as debugging is concerned. Again, it's quite a bit of code, so make sure you take the time to go through it. If you have any questions or need any help in debugging, please let me know. Thank you.